The Grand Assembly Hall stretched out like a cathedral of metal and light. Deho walked slowly across the polished floor, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. Above him, 12 platforms rose high into the air, each one holding a member of the Galactic Council. They looked down at him like gods observing an insect. Deho reached the petitioner's table and sat down. The chair felt small and uncomfortable, clearly designed to make visitors feel weak. He placed his hands on the table and waited. Around him, the alien council members shifted and whispered to each other in languages his translator could barely understand. The insectoid leader clicked its mandibles together. The sound rang through the hall like metal scraping stone. "Human representative," it said, its voice cold and sharp. "You have requested membership in the Galactic Council. We have reviewed your application." Deho nodded. He had spent months preparing for this moment. Behind him, a holographic display activated, showing Earth and humanity's achievements. Images of cities, spacecraft, research stations, and terraforming projects flickered in the air. A council member from the Vrelian species laughed. The sound was like glass breaking. "Chemical rockets," it said, pointing at the display. "You still use chemical rockets for orbital launches? We abandoned such primitive methods 12,000 years ago." Another council member, a Corthian with purple skin and 4 eyes, shook its head. "And your computers? Simple electronic circuits. You process information like children counting stones on a beach." The other council members joined in. They pointed at humanity's medical technology and called it barbaric. They mocked human FTL drives as slow and wasteful. They dismissed human art, music, and literature as the confused mumblings of an infant species. Deho let them talk. He kept his face calm and neutral. He had been warned this would happen. Every species that came before the council faced the same treatment. The council wanted new members to feel small and grateful. They wanted submission before acceptance. After 20 minutes, the insectoid leader raised one of its clawed hands. The hall fell silent. "We have made our decision," it announced. "Humanity will be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council." Ao Ho felt a flicker of hope, but it died quickly. However, the leader continued, "You will have no voting rights for 5,000 standard years. During this time, you will pay tribute to the Council in the form of rare minerals and resources. Your home system will be subject to galactic supervision. Council inspectors will monitor your activities to ensure compliance with our laws." The leader's eyes fixed on Deho. "You will also limit your expansion. Humanity may establish colonies in only 3 systems beyond your home. All other regions of space are claimed by senior council members. You will not enter these regions without permission." Deho felt anger rising in his chest, but he pushed it down. "May I ask," he said carefully, "what benefits humanity receives in exchange for these obligations?" The Vrelian representative made that glass-breaking laugh again. "Benefits. You receive the benefit of our protection. You receive access to galactic trade routes. You receive the wisdom of civilizations millions of years older than yours. And most importantly," the Corthian added, "you receive permission to exist. Many species have been eliminated because they refused to join the Council. They expanded too quickly, threatened the galactic order. We could not allow that. But you humans, you will be safe under our guidance." The words were clearly a threat wrapped in kindness. Deho understood perfectly. "Accept the terms or face destruction." "I must consult with my government," Deho said. "This is a significant decision. I request time to discuss these terms with Earth." The insectoid leader waved a claw dismissively. "You have 1 standard cycle, 26 hours. Return here with your answer. We expect you to accept." No species has ever refused council membership. Deho stood and bowed slightly. He turned and walked back across the long hall. Behind him, he could hear the council members talking among themselves. They spoke in their own languages now, not bothering to use the common tongue. But Deho's translator still picked up fragments. "Desperate creatures, these humans. Of course they will accept. They have no choice. 5,000 years of tribute will enrich our coffers nicely. Such a young species. Easy to control." Deho kept walking. His face remained calm, but his mind was racing. He had seen the Council's true nature now. They were not wise elders guiding younger species. They were not benevolent protectors of galactic peace. They were bullies and thieves, using their age and power to dominate everyone else. He reached the exit and stepped into the corridor beyond. A transport pod waited to take him back to his ship. As the pod accelerated through the station's tunnels, Deho activated his secure communicator. "Director Biora," he said quietly. "I need an emergency meeting with the Leadership Council. All members. Tell them the Galactic Council has shown its hand." "Understood," Biora's voice crackled back. "What are the terms?" "Slavery dressed up as membership," Deho replied. 5,000 years of tribute and restrictions. They want to keep us small and controlled." There was a pause. Then Biora said, "The leadership expected this. We have prepared options. Return to Earth immediately. The Council meets in 8 hours." Deho ended the transmission and leaned back in his seat. Through the pod's window, he could see Nexus Prime stations stretching out around him. Millions of aliens lived here, representing hundreds of species, all of them under the Council's rule. He wondered how many of them had sat in that same small chair. How many had felt that same anger and helplessness? How many had accepted the terms because they saw no other choice? But humanity had choices. Deho knew that. Earth had been preparing for this moment for decades. They had studied the Council carefully, quietly, patiently. They had learned things the Council did not expect them to know. The galaxy was about to change. The Council just did not realize it yet. The Leadership Council chamber sat deep beneath Sol, protected by 300 meters of reinforced concrete and advanced shielding. Deho stood at the center of the circular room, facing the 5 people who guided humanity's presence in the galaxy. Admiral Hyanwu sat directly across from him. A man in his 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes. To his left was Dr. G1, the head of Earth's astrophysics division. She looked young, barely 40, but her mind was considered one of the brightest in human history. Director Biora sat to the right, thin and quiet, leading Earth's intelligence services. The other 2 members completed the circle, Report Hyanwu said simply. Deho described the Council meeting in detail. He explained the terms, the mockery, the barely hidden threats. When he finished, the room was silent for a long moment. 5,000 years, one of the Council members muttered. They expect us to serve them for 5,000 years. They expect us to be grateful for the opportunity, Deho added. The insectoid leader made it very clear. Accept or face elimination, Yanwu nodded slowly. He looked at G1. Doctor, your assessment? Guan activated a holographic display in the center of the room. Star charts, technical specifications, and cultural data filled the air. We have been observing the Galactic Council for 117 years, she began. Ever since we achieved faster-than-light travel, we have been very careful, very quiet. They think we are simple and primitive. They have no idea how much we have learned. She manipulated the display, showing images of Council ships and stations. Their technology is stagnant. The FTL drive they use was invented 11,000 years ago. It has not improved since then. Their weapon systems are 8,000 years old. Their shield technology is even older. Why? Deho asked. Why would advanced civilizations stop innovating? Because they won, G1 replied. 10,000 years ago, the Council species conquered the galaxy. They eliminated or absorbed every competitor. After that, they had no reason to improve. They became comfortable. Then they became lazy. She changed the display to show human technology. In 300 years of space travel, we have developed 3 different types of FTL drives. Each one has advantages the Council's single method does not have. Our quantum drives are twice as fast. Our dimensional fold drives use half the energy. Our slipstream drives can carry more cargo. Ian Wu leaned forward. Continue. Our artificial intelligence is centuries beyond theirs, G1 said. The Council fears AI and restricts its development. They use simple computer systems that cannot adapt or learn. Our AI can solve problems in seconds that would take them years. She pulled up more data. Our material science has created alloys they have never seen. We can build ships lighter and stronger than anything in their fleet. Our medical technology is superior. We have cured diseases they still consider incurable. We have extended human lifespan by 40% in just the last century. The Council's species have not improved their medicine in millennia. Deho felt his heart racing. Are you saying we are more advanced than the Galactic Council? In many ways, yes, G1 confirmed. Not always. They have numbers and experience we lack. But technologically, we have already matched or exceeded them in critical areas. And we are still improving while they remain frozen.
Well,
Director Biora spoke for the first time, her voice soft but clear. The cultural analysis supports this. We have studied Council psychology extensively. They are risk-averse to an extreme degree. They fear change. They fear competition. Any species that shows promise is either crushed or absorbed into their system and neutered. She brought up intelligence reports. We have identified 17 species that joined the Council in the past 2,000 years. All of them were innovative and growing. Within one generation of joining, all of them stopped developing new technology. The Council's rules and restrictions strangled their creativity. It is deliberate, Bora continued. The Council maintains power by ensuring no one can challenge them. They lie about dangerous regions of space to keep resources for themselves. They restrict exploration to prevent discovery. They control information to maintain their authority. Haiyan Wu stood and walked to the holographic display. He studied the data for a long moment, so we have a choice. Accept their terms and become like those 17 species. Slowly suffocate under their rules until we are just another subject population. Or refuse. If we refuse, Deho said carefully, they threatened elimination. Let them try, Haiyan Wu said coldly. Our war simulations show we could defend Earth against a Council fleet. It would be costly, but we would survive. And that is assuming they would even attack. The Council has not fought a real war in 6,000 years. Their military is as stagnant as their technology. Dr. G1 nodded. There is another factor. The Council is not unified. Several member species are unhappy with the leadership. We have detected communication indicating dissent. If we refuse and survive, others might follow our example. Director Beer added. Our intelligence shows at least 5 species that would consider leaving the Council if they saw a viable alternative. They have been waiting for someone to stand up to the leadership. The Council members looked at each other. No one spoke for a full minute. Finally, Haiyan Wu returned to his seat. I propose we reject the Council's terms, he said formally. Furthermore, I propose we reveal our true capabilities. Show them that humanity is not a primitive species begging for acceptance. Show them we are their equals, or perhaps their superiors. We humiliate them, another Council member said. We make them look like fools in front of the entire galaxy.
Ow.
Doho said quietly. Everyone looked at him. We do not humiliate them. We simply tell the truth. We present facts. We show evidence. If they feel humiliated, that is because they have been lying for thousands of years. G1 smiled. I like that approach. Calm, measured, undeniable. We do not insult them. We just reveal reality. Director Bora looked thoughtful. It will cause chaos. The Council's authority depends on the belief that they are superior. If we shatter that belief, the entire galactic order could collapse. Good Haiyan Wu said. The current galactic order is built on oppression and lies. Let it collapse. We will help build something better in its place. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would refuse the Council's terms. More than that, they would walk away from the Council entirely. Deho felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Then he felt a new weight settle. He would be the one delivering this message. He would stand before the Council and tell them that humanity rejected their authority. When should I return to Nexus Prime? He asked. Immediately Haiyan Wu replied. Do not wait for the full cycle they gave you. Return in 12 hours. Let them think you are eager to accept. Then shock them. Noho nodded. He left the Council chamber and headed for the surface. His ship was waiting. The galaxy was waiting. Everything was about to change. Deho returned to the Grand Assembly Hall 12 hours after leaving. The council members were already in their elevated positions, talking among themselves. When he entered, they fell silent and watched him walk to the petitioner's table. The insectoid leader clicked its mandibles in what might have been amusement. "You return early, human. Eager to accept our generous terms?" Deho sat down and placed a data tablet on the table. "I have consulted with Earth's leadership. We have made our decision." "Excellent," the Varelian representative said. "Then let us formalize your membership. There are documents to sign, oaths to swear." "I am afraid there has been a misunderstanding," Deho said calmly. "Humanity respectfully declines membership in the Galactic Council under the proposed terms." The hall went completely silent. The council members stared at him as if he had spoken in an alien language they could not comprehend. The insectoid leader leaned forward. "Declines? You cannot decline. No species has ever refused council membership." "We are the first, then," Deho replied. He activated his tablet, and holographic displays appeared throughout the hall. "Let me explain our reasoning." He stood up. "You claim technological superiority over humanity. You mock our chemical rockets and simple computers, but our analysis shows this claim is false." The first display showed detailed scans of council ships. "Your FTL drives are 11,000 years old. The design has not changed in all that time. Meanwhile, humanity has developed 3 distinct FTL methods in just 300 years. Each one is more efficient than yours." "Lies," the Korthian representative shouted. "You could not possibly. Our quantum drives achieve 0.85 times light speed multiplication." Deho continued, speaking over the interruption. "Your drives achieve 0.62. Our dimensional full drives use 47% less energy for the same distance traveled. These are facts, not opinions." He changed the display. "You restrict areas of space, claiming they are dangerous. You forbid younger species from exploring certain regions. We decided to investigate why." New star charts appeared, showing 17 systems marked in red. "These are systems you've declared off limits. You claimed they contained spatial anomalies, dangerous radiation, or hostile entities. We sent probes to all 17 systems." The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "We found no dangers," Deho said flatly. "What we found were resource-rich systems with rare minerals and habitable planets. You have been lying to maintain monopolistic control over valuable territory." The insectoid leader hissed. "You have violated galactic law." "What law?" Deho asked calmly. "We are not members of your council. Your laws do not apply to us. We explored unclaimed space using our own ships and our own technology. If anyone violated law, it is you, by falsely claiming territory through deception." He pulled up more data. "Your medical technology. You claim superiority, yet species under your care still suffer from cellular degradation, genetic diseases, and radiation sickness. Humanity has cured all of these. We have extended our average lifespan to 130 years. What is your average?" No council member answered. Deho already knew the answer was 90 to 100 years for most of them. "Your artificial intelligence restrictions," he continued. "You forbid advanced AI development, claiming it is dangerous. Yet our AI systems have made discoveries and innovations that have accelerated our progress by decades. They are partners in our civilization, not threats." Dr. Jiwon had given him detailed technical specifications. He presented them now, one after another. Human shield technology. Human weapon systems. Human manufacturing capacity. Human agricultural yields. In area after area, humanity matched or exceeded the council. The Varelian representative stood up on its platform. "Even if this is true, you are one species against hundreds. You cannot survive alone." "We are not alone," Deho said. "We have already been contacted by 3 species who wish to discuss independent relations with Earth: the Mindari, the Pelians, and the Korathi. They are tired of your restrictions and controls." The council chamber erupted. Council members shouted at each other and at Deho. Some demanded he be arrested. Others called for immediate military action against Earth. A few sat in shocked silence, realizing what this meant. The insectoid leader raised its claws, and the noise gradually died down. "You are making a terrible mistake, human. The Council has maintained peace in this galaxy for 10,000 years. Without our structure, there will be chaos, war, suffering." Deho shook his head. "You have maintained control, not peace. You have prevented war by preventing progress. You have created stability through stagnation. That is not peace. That is a prison." He picked up his tablet. "Humanity chooses a different path. We will explore the galaxy freely. We will innovate without restriction. We will trade fairly with any species that wishes to trade with us. We will form alliances based on mutual respect, not submission." "You are declaring yourself outside the galactic order," the leader said, its voice dangerous. "That makes you a rogue species." "We have eliminated rogue species before. You can try," Deho said quietly. "But I would consider carefully before making that decision. You have not fought a war in 6,000 years. Your fleet is old, your tactics are outdated, and your crews have no combat experience. Meanwhile, humanity has been preparing for this possibility for decades." He let that sink in. "We do not want war. We want cooperation between equals. If you cannot offer that, then we will build our own community among the stars. Any species that wishes to join us is welcome." The insectoid leader seemed to swell with rage. "This is outrageous." "You will," but Deho was done talking. He had said everything that needed to be said. He turned his back on the council and began walking toward the exit. "We are not finished," the leader shouted. "You cannot simply leave." Deho kept walking. His footsteps echoed in the vast hall. Behind him, the council descended into chaos. Members were shouting, arguing, demanding action, but no one tried to stop him physically. He reached the great doors, and they slid open. He stepped through without looking back. The doors closed behind him, sealing away the noise and fury of the council and the corridor beyond. Deho allowed himself a small smile. He had done it. He had stood before the most powerful organization in the galaxy and told them no. Now came the hard part. Humanity had to prove they could survive without the council. They had to show the galaxy there was another way, but Deho believed they could do it. Humanity had always been best when challenged, when pushed to the edge. The council had just given them the greatest challenge in their history. He walked to his ship with his head held high. The galaxy was watching. It was time to show them what humans could really do. The news spread across the galaxy in hours. Thousands of species received the transmission. A human representative had walked out of a galactic council meeting. He had rejected their authority and declared humanity independent. The council's response came within 6 hours. An official statement declared humanity a rogue species. They announced sanctions against Earth. Any species that traded with humans would face consequences. Any species that allied with humans would be considered hostile to the council. But the threat rang hollow. Species across the galaxy had watched Deho's presentation. They had seen the data about council deceptions. They had heard about the forbidden zones that were actually resource-rich systems. Many had suspected these things for years, but had no proof. Now they had it. 3 species acted immediately. The Mindari withdrew their council delegate and requested direct communication with Earth. They were a philosophical people, deeply interested in art and science. The council had been restricting their research for centuries, claiming certain topics were too dangerous. The Mindari were tired of censorship. The Pelions followed. They were master engineers who had invented dozens of useful technologies over the millennia. Each time, the council had claimed the inventions for themselves and forced the Pelions to stop further development. The Pelions had been waiting for an opportunity to break free. The Karathi came third. They were traders and merchants, skilled at commerce. But council regulations strangled their business. They could only trade on approved routes, only sell approved goods, only charge approved prices. They saw Earth's offer of free trade as liberation. On Earth, Admiral Heian-Wu stood in the Orbital Fleet Command Center. Watching displays that showed ships from all 3 species approaching human space. "Status?" he asked. "Mindari, Delegation arrives in 4 hours, an officer reported. Pelion engineers in 6 hours. Karathi merchants in 8 hours. All are broadcasting peaceful intentions and requesting talks. Heianwu nodded. Prepare welcome protocols. Full diplomatic reception for the Mindari. Technical exchange facilities for the Pelions. Trade negotiation teams for the Karathi, sir, another officer said hesitantly. The council is monitoring everything. They will know we are forming alliances, good Heianwu replied. Let them watch. Let them see what happens when you treat people with respect instead of contempt. Across the solar system, Lieutenant Taeyong prepared for humanity's first major independent exploration mission. He was 28 years old, one of the youngest fleet commanders in Earth's Navy. But he had graduated top of his class and had proven himself in simulated combat scenarios. His ship, the Discovery, was unlike anything the Council had ever built. It used the new quantum drive that Dr. Ji Wan's team had perfected. The ship was small, fast, and packed with advanced sensors. Its mission was to find a faster route to the galactic core. All systems ready, his navigator reported. She was a young woman named Heiwan, brilliant at mathematics and spatial calculations. Quantum drive charged. Course plotted. Take us out, Taeyong ordered. The Discovery accelerated smoothly away from Earth. When it reached safe distance, Taeyong gave the command. Engage quantum drive. Space twisted. Reality bent. The ship slipped into a state between dimensions where distances were shorter and physics worked differently. The Council's FTL drives moved through normal space at high speed. Quantum drives moved through folded space where a journey of light years became a journey of meters. They traveled for 3 days. Heiwan constantly adjusted their course, using human AI to calculate optimal paths. The AI processed millions of variables every second, finding routes the Council's simple computers could never detect. On the 4th day, they emerged in a region of space no human had visited before. Directly ahead of them, the galactic core blazed with the light of 1 billion stars. Position check, Taeyan ordered. Heiwan worked rapidly at her console. Then she looked up with wide eyes. Sir, we have covered a distance that would take a council ship 6 months. We did it in 4 days. Taeyong felt his heart race. They had found it. A direct route to the galactic core, cutting travel time by more than 98%. This changed everything. Send the data to Earth immediately, he ordered. Encrypted transmission. High priority. While Taeyong explored the void between stars, Dr. Yoonji worked in her xenobiology laboratory on Mars. She was studying signals that human sensors had detected coming from a supposedly empty region of space. The Council claimed the area was dead, void of life or interest. The signals suggested otherwise. They were faint, but complex, clearly artificial. Yoonji had spent weeks analyzing them. Now she believed she had decoded enough to attempt communication. She sent a simple mathematical sequence, universal greeting based on prime numbers. Then she waited. The response came 12 hours later. The signal was stronger now, as if someone had turned up the volume. Mathematical patterns flowed back to her, along with what appeared to be linguistic data. It took another week of careful exchange. But eventually Yanji made first contact with the Velen. They were an aquatic species that had gone into hiding 700 years ago. The Council had demanded they hand over their technology and submit to supervision. The Velen had refused and fled to this remote region. We thought we were alone, the Velen representative communicated through the translated signal. We thought we were the only ones who ever said no to the Council. You were not the only ones, Youngji replied. You were just the first. Humanity is the second. Then we wish to meet you, the Velen said. We have knowledge we will share. Technologies we developed in isolation. Perhaps together, we can ensure the Council never threatens free people again. Within 2 weeks of Daeho's walkout, the galaxy had fractured. 23 species had either left the Council or established independent contact with Earth's growing coalition. The Council's trade monopolies collapsed as merchants found new routes and new partners. The forbidden zones opened up as brave explorers followed humanity's example. The Council watched all of this with growing alarm. In emergency sessions, They debated their response. Some wanted immediate military action. Others urged caution. A few quietly admitted that maybe the humans had been right. The insectoid leader, Woodmock Deho, now faced calls for resignation. The council's carefully maintained image of wisdom and authority had shattered. They looked like what they were, old beings clinging to power they no longer deserved. Finally, the council made a decision. They would send a fleet to Earth, not to destroy it completely, but to make an example. They would demonstrate that defying the council had consequences. 300 ships began moving toward human space. It was the largest military mobilization the galaxy had seen in 6,000 years. On Earth, Admiral Hyanwu received the intelligence reports. He read them carefully, then looked up at his staff. "They are coming," he said simply. "Alert all coalition partners. Prepare defensive positions. Contact Taeyang and recall the exploration fleet. Should we attempt to negotiate?" An officer asked. Hyanwu shook his head. They would see that as weakness. "No, we will meet them. We will show them what humanity has become. And we will show the galaxy that the Council is not invincible." He stood and walked to the window, looking out at Earth below. Somewhere down there, children were playing, people were working, lives were being lived in peace. He would protect that. Whatever it took, the Council was coming for war. They would get one, but not the kind they expected. 6 months had passed since Deho walked out of the Council meeting. In that time, the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. 23 species had left the Council or formed independent alliances with Earth. Trade routes had opened. Information flowed freely for the first time in millennia. Young species were innovating again. It's no longer afraid of Council restrictions, but now the Council's war fleet approached the edge of the Sol system. 300 ships, moving in perfect formation. They had traveled for weeks to reach Earth. Their commander was determined to restore Council authority. The insectoid leader himself commanded the fleet from the flagship. He sat in the command chamber, watching displays that showed the human system ahead. "Deploy forward, scouts," he ordered. "I want complete tactical information before we engage." The scouts launched and accelerated toward Earth. Their sensors swept the system, looking for human defenses. What they found made no sense. "Sir," a tactical officer reported, "we are detecting only 17 human warships in defensive positions around Earth. 17 ships against our 300. The insectoid leader's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. The humans are fools. They thought their technology would save them, but they lack numbers. "Prepare too, sir," another officer interrupted. "We are detecting additional ships. Many ships. They are appearing from... I do not know where they are appearing from." On the main display, space itself seemed to tear open. Ships emerged from dimensional rifts, from quantum folds, from slipstream corridors. They were not all human vessels. Mindari science ships appeared, their hulls decorated with artistic patterns. Pelion engineering platforms materialized, bristling with experimental technology. Karathi merchant vessels arrived, modified for combat, and more. Species the Council barely knew existed, all coming to stand with humanity. Within minutes, the Council fleet faced not 17 ships, but over 400. The coalition had assembled. Admiral Hyanwu stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Guardian. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. "Status of coalition forces?" he asked. "All ships in position," his tactical officer reported. "The Mindari are broadcasting jamming frequencies on Council communication channels. The Pelions have activated their experimental shield network. The Karathi have established supply lines." "We are ready, sir," Yanwu nodded. "Open a channel to the Council flagship. Visual and audio." The insectoid leader's image appeared on the screen. He looked shocked and angry. "What is this?" he demanded. "Where did all these ships come from?" "From species who choose freedom over submission," Hyanwu replied calmly. "From civilizations tired of your lies and restrictions. From people who want to build a better galaxy. Cannot win this fight," the leader hissed. "We outnumber you. Our weapons are 8,000 years old, Haiyan Wu interrupted. We know we have studied your technology extensively. Would you like a demonstration of ours? He nodded to his tactical officer. Throughout the Coalition fleet, ships activated systems the Council had never seen before. Human vessels phased in and out of dimensional space, appearing in one location and instantly manifesting somewhere else. It made them impossible to target. Pelion ships projected shield technology that formed a web across the entire fleet. Energy weapons would disperse harmlessly across this network. The Council's primary weapon systems were useless against it. Most impressively, a young technician named Su Bin, working from a communications station on Earth, activated a program that Dr. G1's team had developed. It was an AI-driven signal that could penetrate any electronic system. Riding on quantum frequencies that the Council's old technology could not block, every ship in the Council fleet received the transmission simultaneously. Their communication systems could not stop it. Their firewalls could not detect it. It simply appeared on every screen, in every language. The transmission showed Daeho's face. He looked calm and serious. "Commander of the Council fleet," he said, "you have a choice to make. You can attack and face destruction. Our technology is superior. Our tactics are more advanced. Your crews have not fought a real war in 6,000 years. Ours have trained for exactly this scenario." He paused. "Or you can stand down. You can join us in building a new galactic community. One based on cooperation, not domination. One that encourages innovation instead of suppressing it. One where species are judged by their merit, not their age. We offer you equality," Daeho continued. "We offer you partnership. We offer you a chance to grow again, to learn again, to become more than you are. The Council as you knew it is finished, but the species who formed it can have a future in what comes next." The transmission ended. Silence filled the void between the fleets. On the Council flagship, the insectoid leader stared at his tactical displays. They showed Coalition capabilities far beyond anything he had imagined. Human ships that could teleport. Shields that his weapons could not penetrate. AI that could infiltrate every system he possessed. He thought about his civilization. 11,000 years of history. Countless achievements. Great works of art and science. But how long had it been since they created something new? How long since they pushed boundaries instead of defending them? His tactical officer spoke quietly. "Sir, I recommend withdrawal. We cannot win this engagement." Other officers nodded. The leader could see it in their faces. Not just acceptance of military defeat, but something deeper. Recognition that their entire worldview had been wrong. "Power down weapons," the leader ordered. His voice sounded tired. "Signal the fleet to hold position." On the Guardian, Haiyan Wu watched his displays. "The Council fleet is standing down," his tactical officer reported. "No hostile actions detected." "Open the channel again," Haiyan Wu ordered. The insectoid leader appeared once more. He looked old now, weary. "You have made your point, human. We cannot defeat you." "This was never about defeat," Haiyan Wu said gently. "This was about showing you that there is another way. You governed the galaxy for 10,000 years. That is an incredible achievement. But your time as rulers is over. Join us as equals, and your civilization can thrive for another 10,000 years." The leader was silent for a long moment. Then he clicked his mandibles in what might have been a laugh or a sigh. "Equals," he repeated. "We have not been equals with anyone for so long. I'm not sure we remember how." "You will learn," Haiyan Wu assured him. "We all will. This is new for everyone." 3 months later, a new assembly convened on a neutral station built by joint effort of dozens of species. The station had no elevated platforms, no hierarchy of old versus young. Instead, a great circular table sat at its center, with seats for representatives from 57 species. Young-Su, who had taken over diplomatic duties from Daeho, sat at the table. Next to him was the insectoid, who had once led the council. Across from them sat representatives from the Mindari, Pelions, Karathi, Velen, and dozens of others. "I call this first meeting of the Galactic Assembly to order," Youngsu announced. This assembly has no permanent leaders. Instead, we will rotate chairmanship among member species. Each decision will be made by consensus when possible, by vote when necessary. No species has veto power. No species is above the rules. The insectoid raised a claw. I wish to make a statement, if I may, of course, Youngsu said. All voices are welcome here. The insectoid stood. On behalf of my people, I apologize. We allowed ourselves to become stagnant. We confused age with wisdom, control with peace. We forgot that civilization must always grow or die. He looked around the table. Humanity reminded us of this. They were brave enough to say no to us. For that we are grateful. Many representatives nodded. Some of the older species looked uncomfortable, still adjusting to their new reality. But the younger species looked excited. Eager to begin, Dr. Juan attended the assembly as Earth's chief science advisor. After the opening statements, she presented a proposal for a joint research initiative. We have so much to learn from each other, she said. Humanity has advanced quickly, but we are still young. The Mindari have philosophical insights we lack. The Pelions have engineering experience we need. The Velen have technologies developed in isolation that could benefit everyone. I propose we create research stations where any species can participate, where knowledge is shared freely, where we push the boundaries of what is possible together. The proposal passed unanimously. It was the first of many cooperative projects that would follow. Back on Earth, Daeho watched the assembly proceedings from his home. He had retired from active diplomacy, having accomplished what he set out to do. Now he taught at a university, helping train the next generation of human explorers and diplomats. A student approached him after class. Professor, they are calling you the man who changed the galaxy. How does that feel? Daeho smiled. I did not change the galaxy. I just walked out of a meeting. The galaxy changed itself when people realized they could choose something better. Through the window, he could see spacecraft lifting off from the nearby port. Human ships? Yes. But also Mindari vessels, Pelion platforms, and ships from a dozen other species. All traveling freely, trading fairly, cooperating willingly. The Council had claimed they brought peace to the galaxy. But it had been the peace of stillness, of stagnation, of fear. This was different. This was the peace of growth, of opportunity, of hope. A message arrived on Daeho's tablet. It was from Admiral Hyenwu. Lieutenant Taeyong's latest exploration has discovered 7 new habitable worlds in the Outer Rim. 3 species have already expressed interest in joint colonization efforts. The future is bigger than we imagined. Daeho smiled and looked back at his students. They were young, eager, full of questions and dreams. They would inherit this new galaxy, this place where anyone could reach for the stars without asking permission. The galaxy is not astonished anymore, Daeho told his students. It is awake, and that makes all the difference.